1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Time to send them back to hell. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8,
Peace,
7,
peace,
6,
peace.
5,
What up?
4,
What it
3,
do,
2,
fam?
1.
What it do, fam? Salute, salute. Peace, fam. Happy Reggae Month. Happy Reggae Month. Yeah, February is Black History Month. Yes, but a lot of people don't know that it's also Reggae Month. And we do know that reggae is definitely a giant part of Black history. We do know that, right? And we also know that, you know, these terms black and white and all these terms, you know, these terms are up for debate. And we debate, we talk about all that on this platform because this is not the kiddie platform. This is the big boy platform. Peace and love. This is yours truly, General Pow Shadowz of the House of Hip Step, also known as author P.E. McCallum, author of this great book, NGR, What Does It Mean? This revolutionary, transformational, narrative-defining book, NGR, What Does It Mean? An expose on the N-word from a hip-hop perspective. And I encourage all y'all to go to Amazon and get your copy because that is Black history as well. I think I made Black history when I wrote the book. You know what I mean? But dealing with Black History Month, dealing with Reggae Month, so you know, let's talk a little bit about that because why is this Reggae Month? It's Reggae Month because of two figures, right? Dennis Brown, who is a reggae legend, right? Reggae music legend and icon. He was born on February 1st. It's his birthday, February 1st, Dennis Brown. I love Dennis Brown. He got the Lovers Rock's tunes. You know, he's the Lovers Rock king. Then we have my favorite reggae artist that ever was born. His name was Robert Nesta Marley, a.k.a. Bob Marley. And he was born on February the 6th. And, you know, Bob Marley brought us songs like, Could You Be Loved? And there is a natural mystic flowing through the air. And if you listen carefully now, you will hear. Revolutionary, spiritually transforming songs, you know what I'm saying? One Love, War, Bob Marley, Robert Nesta Marley, born February 6th. Give thanks for him. But that's why we celebrate Reggae Month in February. And of course, we celebrate Black History Month in February because of significant birthdays that were born in February. Black history figures born in February. Also, they even throw Abraham Lincoln in there because, you know, his emancipation. I think his birthday was in February as well, but mainly because Carter G. Woodson began Negro History Week way back early in the gap. In the early 1900s, he founded Negro History Week, which is the foundations of Black History Month. And of course, that started, that was in the month of February. So when we wanted to get a whole month, it seemed only right to just extend what Carter G. Woodson was doing with Negro History Week. So it became, February became that month because it just extended Negro History Week, which was already in February, which consequently made it Black History Month in February the shortest month of the year, but it just worked out that way. There's very significant birthdays in February surrounding Black history. I just gave you three, but there's also Negro History Week by Carter G. Woodson. That's the primary reason, and it just expanded. That's all. So when people come with the argument, well, Black History Month is the shortest month of the year. It's in the shortest month of the year, February. Yes, they are correct. But what they're forgetting is that they're forgetting that why it's in February. It's not. They act like they said some people of European descent sat down at the table and said, let's give these Negroes the shortest month of the year for Black History Month. We'll give them a month, but we'll give them the shortest month of the year. That's not what happened. That's the misconception. So, but peace and love, everybody. I hope everybody is out there, learning. I hope you're out there being wise, controlling narratives, controlling your own narrative. Remember, that's what this platform is about. And that's what my book is about. It's about because every day, every other day, every week, there's another story about the N-word. Somebody using the N-word against Black and Indigenous people. Somebody having us in an uproar, right? You see it online all the time. That's because the N-word has been weaponized against us. Sometimes we as Black and Indigenous people, we weaponize the N-word against each other or against other people. We take the term as a term of endearment for ourselves. But in all of these things, we have yet to really take control of the narrative to the point where somebody can call us the N-word and we'll get upset, right? It'll trigger us. But that's why I want y'all to get my book, because when you learn that the N-word originally came from, quote unquote, what we now call Africa, right? It came from the continent that we now recognize universally as being called Africa and African people, right? The N-word originated with NGR, right? And it appears in different places in Africa, primarily Egypt and Ethiopia, and even ancient India, which was founded by the Ethiopians, by the Kushites, excuse me. The land was not called Ethiopia when ancient Egypt was founded. It was called the land of Kush, that territory, all right? And in the land of Kush, there was a term given to the kings. That term was Negus. Negus, or which is Negus, which can also be NGS when you take the vowels out. Negus. It's an ancient Ge'ez word, right? It's ancient Ge'ez, coming from the land of Kush, and it meant king, monarch, ruler of the land, the one who rules the land, the monarch of the land. Negus, Arthur E.A. Wallace Budge, and I have the book over there on my bookshelf. An Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary reminds us that the N-word was also found in the hieroglyphics as NGR. And it meant divinity. It referenced the divine. In an ancient Kemet, the Ingers, the Netgers were considered the kings, the emperors, the rulers. All this can be found in my book. And then, of course, in ancient India, you have the term Naga, the Naga, which some people say are a half serpent, half human like people, but they were the kings. These were the serpent kings, the Naga. But the serpent aspect is just the artistic depiction of the Naga, and they weren't necessarily serpents. That's mythology created by art and expressed by artists. However, Naga was a term for their kings, serpent, half serpent, or not. So, over time, this term was turned into Niger by the Europeans. In Latin, ancient Latin language, you find the word Niger, or also Negrum, Nigurum. And this term is the term applied to black, meaning black. But when you take out the I and the E in Niger, you have NGR. So, we can see the connection between, and we do know that the Greeks, right? Latin is a Greek language, and we do know that the Greeks invaded Kemet, or Egypt, and they found the Netgers, or the Ingers there, the rulers, and more than likely began to apply this term to the blacks, right? And meaning Niger meaning the land of black or the blacks, right? Niger meaning black. So they more likely start to apply this to the people in that area, the Nigers. In the Bible, you have Simon the Niger. All right? In the Bible, Simon the Niger. Simon the Black. In Spanish language, you have Negro. In French, you have Noir, and in Britain, you have Nigger, Nigger. The British more or less popularized that word, and as we know, the British was the ones that started slavery primarily and ran the slave trade. Even though there were other European nations that participated, but the British is the ones that we know. And we have found that they popularized Nigger. And they didn't just apply that term to black and indigenous people. In America, you have Nigger Island. In Australia, wherever they went, they named things nigger because Nigger was a descriptive term originally. It was more of a descriptive term than it was a hateful term or a racist term. It was descriptive term for a black person. And then over time, it became a hateful term, a racist term over time. Didn't start out that way. It started out descriptive in Europe. Black person. A black person. But over time, it became that black person. That damn black person. This is the history. This is Black History Month. This is Black History. That's what happened. And I encourage everybody to run over to Amazon and get my book because I go into detail about these things in my book. NGR, what does it mean? An expose on the N-word from a hip-hop perspective, available on Amazon in audiobook, paperback, and Kindle. This is a book that I came across when I was very young. 100 amazing facts about the Negro. Everybody go online or run down to your local bookstore. And, you probably have to find a bookstore that specializes in the facts, but they exist in your city, I'm sure. And you can find this book by J.A. Rogers, 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro. And if you look on, the pages aren't really numbered, but if you look at the section that says 100 Amazing Facts, underneath the section where it says quiz in this book, these are just some of the things that appear in the book. 1, the white population of New York is a third more illiterate than the Negro one at that time. 2, Benjamin Banneker, a Negro astronomer, made the first clock made in America in 1754. 3, the word coffee comes from Kaffa, Ethiopia, where it was first used and where it still grows wild. There's another section, the arts. The Negro was the first artist. The oldest drawings and carvings yet discovered were executed by the Negro peoples over 15,000 years ago in southern France, northern Spain, Palestine, South Africa, and India. The drawings are on rocks, the carvings on bones, basalt, and ivory. The oldest known representation of the human body is that of a Negro woman. It was carved by a Negro sculptor of Grimaldi race from 10,000 to 15,000 years ago. It is called the Venus of Willendorf after the place in Austria where it was found and is in the Vienna Museum. 8. Beethoven, the world's greatest musician, was without a doubt a dark mulatto. He was called the Black Spaniard. His teacher, the immortal Joseph Haydn, who wrote the music for the former Austrian national anthem was colored too. And notice he's using these terms Negro and colored. That's because in his day, these were the terms that that people used, to describe our people. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to find the date he originally wrote this book. The original publishing date. But I don't see it. Let's see. Okay. First published 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro. First published in 1934 and revised in 1962. This book gathers journalist and historian Joel Augustus Rogers' columns from the syndicated newspaper feature titled Your History. Patterned after the look of Ripley's popular Believe It or Not, the multiple vignettes in each episode recount short items from Rogers' research. The feature began in the Pittsburgh Courier in November 1934 and ran through the 1960s. So in 1934, there was no term called African American. That didn't exist. And we weren't referring to ourselves as black yet. We were using the Spanish, right? When you take out the E and the O, what's left in the word Negro? When you take out the E and the O, what do you have? NGR. NGR, the title of my book. All right, which is Spanish for black. But NGR means king, emperor, divinity, ruler of the land. So don't be discouraged by the language in the book. That was the language of the time, 1934. This was first published in 1934. A good one to have. How many of y'all knew that about Benjamin Banneker? You didn't, making the first clock. So again, happy Black History Month. Whether you agree with the term black or not, it is referring to our people. You got to know the history. It's not that cut and dry. It's not that black and white, like where you can just say, Black History Month is the shortest month of the year and we should eliminate it altogether. It's not that easy, all right? So, hey, everybody, continue to spread love, not hate. I want y'all to all continue to hip step over all your obstacles, anything that gets in your way. Remember, man, your people, you come from greatness. So greatness runs through your veins. We've overcome a lot of things. We really have. And we have a lot more to overcome. Racist administrations and the systemic racism from white supremacy. The system of white supremacy still exists. But we're still forward and on in the struggle. But, it takes everybody. It takes so-called blacks, so-called whites, and everybody to help change the narrative of white supremacy in this country. And we got to come together, find unity. We have more things in common than we do different. And any civilized nation, man, we should be able to get along with each other. But one of the important factors about getting along with each other is learning about each other properly and knowing about each other's history and things of that nature properly. Knowing where each other's come from. So-called black people in the country, we know where white people come from. We know white history. White history is just considered history. Our history, you have to call it black history because it's like that fact about Benjamin Banneker and the arts and things of it. That's not in the history books. That's not in school. So, yeah, wake up, stay woke, keep your third eye open. That's what that means. Keep learning, keep being aware. That's what woke means, to be aware, to be conscious, and spread love, not hate, because the world's a better place with love, right? And we got enough haters in the world, don't we? Yeah, I think so. See you next time.